You guys see my screen all right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we
All
can
right,
see
cool.
it.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run my Java program. I'm going to start with a blank database here. So I'm rerunning my script and I'll have these user and ticket tables showing up so you guys can see what's going on. I'm going to start off by actually creating some users. One manager, I have a collection here where I have my family set up. I'm the only manager and my family are the users in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and run that. And so it populated my user table here. And so I'm going to try to log in with an invalid name first. And I get a warning that that name is not valid or the password. This one's an invalid password. And it gives me the same warning where this is an accurate username and password for my sister, but she's just a user. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing where I created a bunch of stuff here. Go ahead and run this again. And so now I got my user table and 7 tickets between the 6 of us. And so first I'm going to try to read an invalid user, and you get a warning that there is no user with that ID in the database, where the one I'm logged into now shows up here with all the info. Some of the stuff that a user is not allowed to do is users that are not managers in my application cannot delete other users. So when I try, it warns that the user is not authorized to perform that delete, and try it again with a different user. In my program, it logs all this information, whether I'm adding a ticket or a user or anything like that. And here I try to, as a user, approve my own ticket to see if it can go through. And again, they're not authorized to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and log out. And I'll log in as myself, who is the only registered manager in my database. And so what I'm going to try to do is update some user details. So I don't like going by Arnaldo, so I'm going to change my first name to AJ in the system. And I'll show you here that my name was changed here to AJ, and I'll do the same for my sister while I'm here. She doesn't have the last name Munoz like her sons. She goes by Barrea as well. So I updated that user. And her last name changes here as well. So what I'm going to do is show you that you can read the tickets that are in the database in different ways. I'm still logged in myself, so I believe I have access to everything. So ticket 1 is here. You'll see that resolved is showing up as null, whereas submitted has the timestamp of when the ticket was submitted. When I go to resolve that ticket, it should change the status from pending, and it'll change the resolved time from null to whatever the time is. This is ticket 7. This is the other one I'm going to change, but this one I'm going to deny because it's not a good reason to get their money back. So this endpoint here can show me every single ticket that's in the system. And right now there's 7 of them and they're all not resolved, but I can filter by pending. So this shows all 7. Approved ticket shows nothing yet, and denied shows nothing yet. But here I'll go ahead and try to resolve some of these. So I'm going to take ticket 1, and since it's for a good reason, I'm going to go ahead and change the status to resolved. And because the tickets are not supposed to change status after they've been resolved, I can try again. And what it'll say is that the ticket has already been approved, so it won't let me do it the second time. And here the initial ticket was null, but I'm going to deny it. And so the timestamp will be filled under resolved, and the status should change to 3. And so it's been resolved. If I try to do it again, it's already been denied, and it gives me that warning there. And so I'll read all the tickets again, and you'll see that the timestamp filled in for one of them and changed the status. And also this one's timestamp filled in as well. So my pending tickets will now only have 5, whereas approved will have 1, the one I approved, and denied will also have 1, the one I denied. And so this tab here will let me filter all the tickets that were submitted by user number 2. So they submitted 2 tickets and they're both showing up here. One I didn't do anything with, so the resolved has no timestamp. Status is 1. This one I already approved, so that the status changed as well. So I still have all 6 users. I didn't show you that I can delete as an administrator yet. So using a cookie that it pulls from my administrator in the database, I can delete a user successfully now. And I'll just go ahead and delete both of my nephews because they're too young for this application. And so if we go ahead and read the database again, you'll see that we're down to just the 4 adults in my family. And the tickets that were tied to either of those children were also pulled out of the database because I have a delete cascade set up for them. And yeah, I believe that's everything.
All right. Thank you, AJ. So I've got one question. So when you approve a ticket, can you then deny it afterwards or vice versa?
So the status, whether it's approved or denied, as long as it's not pending, it won't let me change it either way. So I can try to, let me log out to make sure I'm the admin real quick. So I'm going to change this. The status is already approved, but I'm going to change the status to denied and see if that does anything. Yeah, so it just shows that the status has already been approved. And we have some log warnings there as well.
Okay. And also, can you tell me, so why did you opt to use a put request as opposed to a post request or get request for updating?
So the put handlers are specifically if I am trying to update a user, like their info, or when I'm trying to, I guess, update the status of a ticket. In this case, I call it resolving because once you set it to approved or denied, it's just kind of locked out of the system and it just keeps it that way.
All righty. Well, I think that's all the questions I have. And we have Joshua. Go ahead.
Hi. I thought your presentation was pretty good. I heard you said that you use cookies. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so the authorization method we used has to do with this cookie store system we got set up here, where what it's doing is it's generating. Let me find where I have it. I think it's in the user data. Cool. Oh, maybe it's in the service. Give me 1 second. Oh, goodness. All right, so here's an example of how I have it working at the moment. We have this get header function here that's using, I believe it's Javalin. One of the dependencies allows us to get back, let me show you here on Postman. So this header metadata, I was able to put in an authorization cookie that I'm specifically looking for. And I plan on making this like a hashed value rather than what it is now, but we can pull out the beginning of this string and find out exactly which user is being used at the moment. So when I tried to use my sister's account, her auth cookie shows up with her username first. And since she is not an administrator, it doesn't allow her to do the admin traits. So what I'm doing in each of these functions is I'm finding that user in the database, and then I'm pulling out their role, and the status for 2 would be the admin status. And so anyone that has the role 2 would be able to do whatever else is in that HTTP handler. Whereas the others just immediately get this user is not authorized, which is what was printing for the others.
Okay, very cool. Thank you.
Righty, and I think we'll just have one more question because we do have a lot more presentations to go through. So I think we'll just have Andrew and Sanchit, if you can put the question on the chat. So Andrew, go ahead.
Thank you. Can you have a manager authorize or approve or deny, I should say, their own tickets?
I'm actually going to check that next. What I didn't do is set up a ticket for the manager. Like all the tickets that I had in here were for others. The manager himself didn't submit a ticket, but I'll definitely try that. I don't think I have time right now, but do we have time for the next question, or are we going to cut that off?
Yes, right there, because try to make sure we try to get everything done within 10 minutes as well. Okay. So in that case, I think we'll conclude that for now. Thank you, AJ. Appreciate it.
Before I hop off, I did want to thank a few people because there was a ton of issues that I bumped into, and a lot of my cohort and even some of yours helped out with those problems. So thanks to the trainers and thanks for the friends.